10 Japanese cars that got banned for the craziest reasons. Welcome back, speed freaks and JDM junkies. Today we're diving into the wild world of Japanese cars that didn't just break records, but broke rules too. From turbocharged terrors to tech so advanced, it scared the regulators. These machines were outlawed for reasons that'll make you laugh, gasp, and maybe even cry a little. Buckle up, because by the end of this one, you'll see why some legends were just too wild for the road. 10. Suzuki Cappuccino Turbo, 1991. The Suzuki Cappuccino looked like something you might park beside a toy box, yet it was one of the most technically delightful cars Japan ever built. It belonged to the K-car class, designed to promote small, efficient vehicles for crowded cities. Under its tiny aluminum hood sat a 657 cubic centimeter turbocharged engine that produced a modest 63 horsepower, but the entire car weighed less than most modern motorcycles. With rear-wheel drive and near-perfect balance, it could carve corners with a precision that embarrassed far more expensive European roadsters. Its three-piece roof could transform it from a hardtop to a Targa or a full convertible, making it both clever and endlessly fun. When it left Japan, however, it ran straight into a wall of confusion. Regulators outside the country could not decide whether it was a car, a toy, or a public hazard. In the United States and parts of Europe, it failed to meet safety requirements because of its size. The bizarre reason for its ban was that it was too light to be legally crash tested. Safety testing machines and simulation standards were designed for vehicles above a certain weight, and the Cappuccino fell far below that threshold. Some authorities even flagged it for insufficient structural mass, a term that sounds dramatic but essentially means the car was so small that regulations had no way to measure its safety accurately. In the end, the Cappuccino was punished not for being dangerous, but for being too unconventional for systems built around large, heavy vehicles. It was a car that made sense only in Japan, where creativity often outweighs conformity. The ban was a reminder that sometimes innovation is so small and brilliant that bureaucracy simply cannot see it. 9. Nissan Stagea 260 RS Autech, 1996. The Nissan Stagea 260 RS was a masterclass in deception. A car that looked like a suburban grocery getter but hid the heart of a beast. Built by Eunos, Nissan's elite performance division, it carried the same RB26DE TT twin-turbo engine found in the Skyline GTIR, paired with an advanced all-wheel drive system and a 5-speed manual gearbox. It could haul luggage and still embarrass sports cars that cost twice as much. This strange combination of practicality and power made it irresistible to enthusiasts and deeply confusing to bureaucrats. The trouble began when the car started reaching markets outside Japan. Customs officials and regulators could not make sense of it. On paper, it was a station wagon, yet its specifications read like a supercar. In countries such as the United States, emissions and crash regulations were divided by body type, and there were no legal guidelines for a wagon that could accelerate like a GTR. Authorities flagged it for being non-conforming because its engine and drivetrain did not match its registered body classification, and emissions tests were invalidated simply because wagons were never expected to produce that kind of power. The bizarre result was that the car was banned not for performance, pollution, or safety issues, but because the paperwork refused to believe such a vehicle could exist. The Stagea 260 RS ultimately fell through the cracks of its own brilliance. It was too quick for a wagon, too practical for a sports car, and too inventive for the law to label correctly. Bureaucracy won, but enthusiasts still whisper about the day Nissan tricked the system with a family car that could outrun Ferraris. 8. Nissan Skyline R34 GTR 1999 to 2002. The Nissan Skyline R34 GTR is worshipped today as the king of Japanese performance, a car so ahead of its time that even 2 decades later it feels futuristic. Its RB26DE twin-turbo engine was hand-built and capable of enormous power gains, while its all-wheel drive system, combined with the sophisticated ATTE SAETS Pro and active rear differential, gave it unshakable grip. The car also featured the multi-function display on the dashboard, providing live telemetry that let drivers monitor boost, oil pressure, and lap times. It was more computer than car, a blend of precision and power that earned it the nickname Godzilla. Its legend, however, collided with legal reality in spectacular fashion. The bizarre reason behind its ban in the United States was that it was considered too advanced for existing import and safety laws. American regulators required crash and emissions certification for each specific model, and Nissan never submitted the R34 for testing because it was sold only in Japan. When private importers tried bringing them in, the government deemed them non-compliant with federal safety standards and refused registration. To make things even stranger, a company called Motorex temporarily gained approval to import a few Skylines under special exemption, but after the company falsified test data, the entire model was blacklisted. From that point onward, even legally imported R34s were seized or destroyed by customs authorities. The car that redefined Japanese performance became a legal ghost in the United States, desired but untouchable. It was not banned because it was unsafe or polluting, but because it was too intelligent for the rulebook to keep up with. The R34 remains a symbol of forbidden perfection, a machine so good it scared the system into outlawing it. 7. Mazda Eunos Cosmo 20B 1990. The Mazda Eunos Cosmo was a spaceship that somehow qualified as a luxury coupe. Released in 1990, it represented the peak of Mazda's engineering ambition. The car came with digital touchscreens before smartphones even existed, a GPS system when most people still unfolded paper maps, and cabin refinement that felt closer to a private jet than a road car. What truly set it apart, however, was its engine. Mazda fitted the Cosmo with the 20B REW, the world's first production three-rotor, twin-turbo rotary engine. It produced an effortless surge of power and spun with the smoothness of a turbine, a sound and sensation unlike anything else on the road. That uniqueness became both its glory and its curse. The 20B engine's complexity terrified regulators and mechanics outside Japan. Emissions agencies could not categorize it properly because its three-rotor setup emitted exhaust pulses that did not fit conventional testing algorithms. The bizarre twist was that in several countries, the Cosmo was banned not for high emissions, but because the testing machines could not process its rotary engine readings at all. In the United States, it never met certification because no laboratory had equipment designed for such an engine configuration. Insurance agencies and repair networks also refused to register or service it, claiming they lacked data for non-standard internal combustion geometry. Mazda's technological masterpiece became a victim of its own innovation. It was too advanced, too strange, and too misunderstood for the bureaucratic world it entered. The Eunos Cosmo remains a symbol of what happens when a company builds something from the future only for the present to panic. 6. Honda Beat 1991. The Honda Beat was a car that proved joy could come in the smallest possible package. Released in 1991 as part of Japan's K-car lineup, it was a featherweight two-seater roadster powered by a 656 cubic centimeter naturally aspirated engine that sang its way to 9,000 RPM. Despite its modest 63 horsepower, the Beat was all about precision and personality. Its mid-engine, rear-wheel drive layout gave it perfect balance, and its design came from Pininfarina, the same studio behind Ferrari's icons. Every inch of the car was engineered to make driving feel alive. When people outside Japan discovered it, they wanted in. But regulators did not share the enthusiasm. In countries such as the United States and Australia, the Beat ran into an unexpected wall of paperwork. It was considered too light for traditional crash testing, and its bizarre downfall came when it failed to meet occupant protection standards because the testing dummies physically did not fit inside its cabin. Safety officials had to admit that the car was too small to test using standard procedures. On top of that, its engine configuration and emission systems did not align with Western standards, and Honda had never developed foreign market compliance data for it. The Beat's ban had nothing to do with danger or defects. It was simply too compact for bureaucracies designed around large sedans and trucks. Ironically, the car that embodied efficiency and fun was outlawed for not wasting enough space. Even today, enthusiasts regard the Beat as one of those rare cars that was punished not for its flaws, but for being too perfectly Japanese. 5. Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution 1997. The Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution was a brute in designer clothing. Built to dominate the Dakar Rally, it was a street-legal monster equipped with a 3.5-liter V6 engine producing over 270 horsepower, independent suspension at all corners, and aggressive bodywork that looked ready to punch through sand dunes. It was not a modified off-roader. It was a race car that happened to wear license plates. Mitsubishi produced only about 2,500 units to satisfy rally homologation rules, making it one of the rarest and most extreme SUVs ever sold. Its performance was spectacular, but that same rally-bred nature made it a regulatory nightmare. When it was exported to certain countries, the bizarre issue arose that it was banned from import, not because of emissions or safety, but because officials refused to classify it as a passenger vehicle at all. Its wide stance, roll cage reinforcements, and racing suspension meant it technically failed to meet civilian vehicle construction standards. In the United States, it fell into the gray area between truck and sports car, so it could not be legally certified under either category. Some regions also rejected it for its tall hood design, which violated new pedestrian impact laws introduced years after its production. The Pajero Evolution's problem was that it was too pure a rally machine to fit into everyday life. It was overqualified for the highway and underdocumented for the bureaucracy. The ban had nothing to do with danger. It was simply a case of the law not knowing what to do with a vehicle that looked ready to race across the desert on a grocery run. For many enthusiasts, that confusion only added to its legend. 4. Nissan Pulsar GTIR 1990. The Nissan Pulsar GTIR looked like a harmless hatchback, yet it carried the soul of a rally car. Under its small hood sat a turbocharged SR20DET engine, pushing nearly 230 horsepower through an all-wheel drive system that could shame sports cars twice its size. It was built to conquer Group A rallying, but bureaucracy ended up being a tougher opponent than any mountain stage. When enthusiasts tried to import it, the bizarre hurdle appeared in the form of strict emissions and noise limits that the rally-tuned engine could not meet, even in stock form. In the United States, its intake system and boost levels made it non-compliant with federal emissions, and Japan's limited production numbers meant it never qualified for homologation abroad. The Pulsar GTIR was banned not because it was unsafe, but because its raw rally-born power refused to whisper when regulators asked it to. 3. Toyota Sera 1990. The Toyota Sera wasn't banned because it was fast or dangerous. It was banned because regulators had absolutely no idea what to do with its design. The car featured a unique glass canopy roof, upward hinged butterfly doors, and a lightweight chassis that didn't match existing crash test categories. Its unusual suspension setup and narrow frame made it incompatible with several international side impact and roof crush standards. In some regions, inspectors couldn't even attach required testing sensors because the Sera's door frames and mounting points didn't exist in the right places. The excessive glass caused temperature rise failures in safety tests, and the unconventional body structure was flagged for non-standard occupant protection. In short, it wasn't banned for being unsafe, it was banned because its futuristic shape broke the rulebook. Underneath that sci-fi body, the Sera was powered by Toyota's punchy 1.5-liter 5E-FHE four-cylinder engine, producing around 110 horsepower and 100 pound-feet of torque. Lightweight and aerodynamic, it offered surprisingly lively performance for a small coupe. The Sera could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 9.5 seconds, which wasn't supercar quick, but more than enough for a car that focused on style and innovation over brute force. Its smooth revving engine, tight chassis, and low curb weight made it agile and fun to drive, giving it a personality far bigger than its displacement. Even today, enthusiasts love it not for its speed, but for being one of the most unique and forward-thinking cars Toyota ever built. 2. Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 6 Tommi Mäkinen Edition 2000. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 6 Tommi Mäkinen Edition was a road-going tribute to a rally legend. It celebrated 4 straight World Rally Championship victories by Tommi Mäkinen, and Mitsubishi made sure it felt like a trophy that could corner at full speed. The 2-liter turbocharged engine received a quicker spooling turbo, the suspension was reworked for sharper handling, and the steering delivered near telepathic precision. Even the front bumper was redesigned for better cooling during intense driving. It was every bit a rally car, dressed up for the streets, but itching to return to the dirt. However, when it was exported to foreign markets, things got strangely complicated. The bizarre reason for its ban was that its emission system was too efficient for the testing machines to read properly. The catalytic converter and fuel system worked so cleanly that the sensors gave inconsistent or unreadable results. Regulators thought something was wrong with the data rather than the machines, and so they marked the car as non-compliant. It was an ironic twist, a car too clean to pass an emissions test. Adding to the confusion, Mitsubishi never filed the additional safety paperwork for this limited edition. Since every special variant needed its own certification, authorities treated it as an unverified model and denied approval. The car that was built to honor precision and discipline became trapped in bureaucratic chaos. The Tommi Mäkinen edition proved that sometimes perfection can drive straight into the wall of regulation. 1. Subaru 22B STI 1998. The Subaru 22B STI was built to celebrate both Subaru's dominance in the World Rally Championship and the brand's 40th anniversary. It looked like a wide-bodied Impreza, but carried the spirit of a rally monster. Under the hood, a 2.2-liter turbocharged boxer engine produced around 280 horsepower, paired with Subaru's trademark all-wheel drive system and a close-ratio manual gearbox. Every one of the 400 units was hand-assembled by Subaru's STI division, giving it an exclusivity that made collectors go weak at the knees. It was the ultimate distillation of Subaru's rally DNA into road form. But when it came to registering the car abroad, authorities were baffled. The bizarre reason for its ban was that it did not have internationally recognized vehicle identification numbers. Subaru had built them for Japan only, using internal serial codes instead of global VINs. When importers tried to register them, the system rejected the cars as non-existent. The database could not recognize what it was looking at. To make matters worse, the 2.2-liter engine configuration did not match any listed emissions data in foreign databases, so the car failed approval before it even started an engine. It was a machine too unique for bureaucracy to categorize. The 22B was not banned for being too fast, too loud, or too unsafe. It was banned because the paperwork could not comprehend a car that was hand-built, limited, and mechanically unmatched. The world's rally champion found itself sidelined, not by competition, but by confusion. So that's our ticket stamped through the land of outlaw legends, where engineers went rogue and regulations waved the white flag. If your pulse is still redlining, you know what to do. Subscribe and stick around. We have plenty more banned brilliance hiding in the garage, waiting to sneak past the border of ordinary.